Guys, I have a few comments I want to make about the economy and the business situation, but let me start with LinkedIn. LinkedIn used to be a business app, and lately all I see are a lot of personal posts. Like I had a guy showing his old dad fishing as the main thing coming up on my feed. Today is a gal with tattoos and a low cleavage who's an author and a salesperson talking about her, you know, the vacation is on, love working from home. And I'm like, if you're whoring for attention, which I do too, I would suggest using Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Make a just for fans page. Make an OnlyFans. Don't be showing your titties on LinkedIn. It's a professional site. It's a business app. Keep your titties in when you're at work, ladies. It doesn't look professional, okay? I don't like it. I do not want to see boobs on LinkedIn, okay? Have something intelligent to say. I'm all for showing your bodies, but that isn't the place. You can even use YouTube for that. But I would suggest Instagram if you want to get attention for your body, or make it just for fans page. That's what I do. I love showing off my body. But there's a thing called social etiquette and knowing where to show what. At the beach, let it all hang out. In the office, not so much. Okay? Second, just what I want to say about the housing market. Those of you who own real estate along the coast are probably super happy with the bubble prices, the mania, the frenzy. Those of you who don't own houses are worried about whether you can buy one, unless of course you have some parents giving you 50 or 100,000 down so you can compete with these ridiculous offers. But what I want to point out, what's happening in our economy, is that due to all this easy money sloshing around, we no longer have businesses investing in business, research and development. We don't have the government investing in infrastructure. All this liquidity is used for pure speculation, as far as I can see, to buy stocks, and not new stocks. We're not talking about venture capital money. We're talking about bidding up existing stocks. So it's a gamble thing. It's like a tulip bubble thing. You know, the values of the companies haven't increased. They're just bidding up the shares because there's no good place to put their money, and they're also doing it in the housing market. I have a friend who was buying, well, it was a family member. It was one of my sons in the market to buy a house, and he was outbid. They were outbid, thankfully, in his 20s. He's got enough for a nice down payment. I have responsible boys, but he was outbid so many times. He's like, Mom, Zillow and Redfin were competing against us on a lot of these homes, all cash offers, and they're crappy homes in the mid 400s in this particular city. Crappy homes. I also heard BlackRock is buying homes, and I feel bad for the people who want to buy homes. Obviously, I wish it wasn't happening, but I'm also noticing that it's a sad state of affairs, that the best way that these companies can see of making a return is in the single family residential market. It's not in new construction, I guess. I don't know. Are they investing in new construction, in apartment buildings, in infrastructure, in research and development, in improving the lives of people in this country? They're just bidding up the prices of existing assets. They're blowing asset bubbles. So I find this kind of sad. Okay, I talked about LinkedIn. I talked about the housing market. Let's go to the employment situation. We keep hearing on the news that employers are having a hard time finding employees, and I know that's true from what I've seen myself. And there's the belief that these people are just fucking lazy. They're getting the federal unemployment money, so of course they don't want to work. So let's cut off the federal unemployment. Everything will be hunky-dory. But as I saw on Breaking Points, which is a really good independent media you can watch on YouTube, Breaking Points, that even in Missouri, where they thought that was the case, they stopped the federal unemployment benefits, I think in May. They're still having trouble in the labor market. And what some people are now speculating is that all these employees who didn't work, these low-level employees making $8, $9, $10, $12 an hour, even $15 an hour, when they didn't work, they finally had like a respite from their kind of enslavement jobs, because in a lot of cities you can't support yourself on that. They're living in poverty level situations, struggling, and then they're usually working in a situation where they're not only not appreciated by the customers, but the bosses are pretty mean to them. They often don't have any benefits, and we have this huge workforce. I've talked in the past about the flat wages in this country that haven't increased since the 70s, with more and more money going to the upper people who are speculating on asset prices and bidding them up without adding any fucking value. What value is BlackRock adding to the economy, buying houses, or these people just buying more stocks that already existing? What value are they fucking adding? None. Meanwhile, you have this huge echelon of lower paid people who are saying, you know what, I kind of like not working. I have my life back. This money, I was struggling so hard for pitiful wages. I wasn't appreciated. I had to pay childcare. I was broke. I don't want this. And I don't know what they're doing for money. I don't know if they have other jobs, if they decided to just move in with a family member or cut back their expenses. I don't really know what they're doing. That's something that I'm really curious about. But I think there's been a shift among workers who are saying, no, thank you. And so if you're an employer, I think you're going to have to start raising wages. I think that we're going to have to start paying people in this country a living wage, and that means the cost of everything is going to go up. So be prepared for that. That's only fair. I can afford it, so I don't really care. But I don't like to see people struggle at minimum wage. They don't feel appreciated. Okay, let's see. The other point I wanted to make was about, let me think. Okay, let me pause this for a second and think. Yes, the media. So I heard this on Breaking Points also. Apparently, the viewership among all the cable news, including even Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, all the major channels and the cable, the New York Times, all the main publications are down 50 to 75% since February. The liberal side and the conservative side were gaining viewers by creating this polarity situation, the pro-Trump rah 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 on Fox and the anti-Trump on all the other ones, and the Wall Street Journal also being conservative. And now that Biden is in office, there isn't really anyone to hate, because the liberals are not going to hate on Biden, even though we did hear some rumblings about Kamala Harris and how badly she's running her office, that she's a little bit abusive. I think they let that leak out. And so the president's wife, Jill Biden, is taking a lot of public light attention on herself now, going to events. But I don't think that the liberal media wants to rail on Biden for all of his stupid policies. Like, he's still continuing the wars. He seems half senile. I don't know anything that he's really done. We have a huge problem at the border still. And we have the Fed blowing all these bubbles. So there's all that. And for some reason, Fox News, I don't know. I think what's happening is a lot of the problems we have, including this unemployment situation, is caused by both parties. Obama fans, you can take a hike, because Obama never stopped the wars. He didn't do anything to punish the people who created the housing bubble. He put the head of Monsanto in charge of the FDA and started this whole genetically modified thing. He did nothing to help black people. I'm not impressed with Obama. He was just a attention-seeking narcissist and a huge fucking disappointment. They're all part of the system, and so now there's no one to blame because we see it's the system, and that's why these independent news stations are gaining more popularity, because they're talking about stuff that doesn't pit us against each other. They're just exposing the system where we have the media, the big business, and the government, the pharmaceutical companies, the military industrial complex, all in cahoots with each other to keep their power and their money going. Obama's pick for the Justice Department, he's the one that dismissed the Facebook antitrust suit. They're all in the cahoots, like all the people in money and power are all part of the system wanting to keep their money and their power. So it's the system that's the problem. The system. Yeah. And finally, I want to say one more thing about Weisselberg being arrested, arraigned, whatever the word is. I'm not a legal person, but I'm not a Trump fan. I think he lied. I would love to see his taxes. I would love to see whatever wrong he did come to light. But this whole thing with Weisselberg is a lot of bullshit. I mean, all they got on this guy was that he took $1.9 million of benefits that he didn't claim on his taxes. Come on. You've got people who've done that and by multiple times more all over this country. People hiding money offshore and evading taxes, you know, that you should really go after. But you go after this guy. That for the first time, I'm going to agree with Donald Trump that it was a witch hunt. They got whatever little crumbs they could get on Weisselberg to try to get him to flip. I'm like, I'm not very impressed, to be honest. I'm not very impressed with what they did there. That's all the dirt you have on that guy. I'm sorry, I'm not impressed. You know. So that's it. A few musings on the economy and on politics. In case you're wondering. Let's see, tonight I have 2 dating video calls, and then a little later on I have one of my friends coming over. We're going to just have a good time. It's been kind of a busy couple weeks for me. I've had family in town. I've got these little cats here. It's taken me off my game. I had to change bedrooms, and now I've got, a few days here to myself before I've got more company. I am still taking escort appointments on the time that my guests are gone during the day, so that's still happening, but I don't have as much free time to myself as I usually do. Whenever I have a free moment, I do like to make a video because I like doing that, but I haven't had as much free time as I usually have, because when I have company here, I want to be attentive to them and be present with them. And so I feel like that's more important than like hanging out with my friends and stuff like that. So yeah, thanks for watching my video. Today is Friday, for July 2nd. I hope you guys have a very happy 4th of July. And finally, I fucking hate holidays. I don't like them. I'll be glad when they're over. If you like holidays, good for you, because there's one coming up. I do appreciate that we're free, but I don't feel completely free. There are a lot of things I'm not supposed to do or say. And by the way, we are free, but there is a lot of social shaming around being free, because, for example, the protests in London, whenever people protest, the media really slams it. And I don't know why people don't protest more. When the Wall Street thing happened, when the housing bubble burst, when they blew that whole bubble, I wanted to protest. I was so angry about that. And when they didn't send anyone to jail, I was furious. I was very angry. That was probably the angriest I've ever been. I don't get angry at the government. I usually just don't care what they do. But I was very angry about that, because it was so obvious and so many people were hurt and no one was held accountable. Now with this whole Fauci dilemma, I just feel like these people are never held accountable. If there was a protest going on, I would be participating in the protest. But, you know, why aren't people protesting? People are so lackadaisical, you know, about all this stuff. I would like to join a protest. I don't think I'm going to be the first one to go out in the street to protest. I did protest when they were trying to do the GMO labeling bill to label GMO foods. I did protest in favor of that and was holding up signs out and in Carlsbad and like with different groups in public. But I haven't found a cause I want to protest on, but I'm looking for something to protest against because I think there's so much inequity, and I want to, but I don't want to organize it. I'm not like an organizer, but I would join it. A protest about wages or about just creating money out of thin air or holding people accountable. I would join a protest like that for sure. Something to increase our freedom. Freedom to have more parties than just a two-party system. We're not really free. Democrats or Republicans, they're not really that much different. They're all part of the system. They all want money and power. They all support the same industries. I guess you could say that Republicans maybe lower taxes more for the rich, but I haven't seen the Democrats raise taxes on the rich. So, you know, it's all just a fucking sham. I mean, I'm doing pretty well for myself, but I just don't like some of the inequities I see. That's it. You guys have a happy 4th of July. I am going to meditate and then get on these video calls. Like, put a little makeup on so I look cute for these guys. And have a glass of wine. On the video calls, I try to dress the way I would for a date, you know, give them something pretty to look at, but nothing too revealing. You know, a little bit of modesty is good. I feel like men have to earn seeing more of my body, and I want to be taken seriously. And that goes back to that lady on LinkedIn who had half her tits hanging out. I didn't take her seriously. She looked like a little skank. So I blocked her. I wasn't even following her. Someone made a comment on her post, so it showed up on my feed. And there are a lot of guys following me from my, when they found me on my escort thing. I don't know. Then it shows up on my feed, and like, I don't want to see a bunch of titties on my LinkedIn. Maybe I shouldn't even go on LinkedIn, because that's a lot was coming up there. Women trying to be sexy and do their workouts, trying to get attention on LinkedIn. Ladies, don't go to LinkedIn to flaunt your body. There are other sites for that. You can even make money on it. Start it just for fans. You know? Thanks for watching my video.